All right, here it is. It's time to confess. I have an addiction. It's not an unhealthy addiction per se, but it's to the music artist Jackson Dean. I won't say it's about him as a person, but it's his music as a whole. His music, I don't think there has been an artist over the last 10 or 15 years that has had the chokehold on my soul, lyrically, musically, the way his has. I didn't discover him until probably a year and a half ago. One of his big songs was Fearless. I love that song. The more I talked to my cousin's daughter, like, we were talking about this artist, she's seen him in concert. He's like, oh, you've got to listen to this song. You need to listen to this song. And the more I listened to that, I'm like, the first time I heard some of them, like, okay, not necessarily my cup of tea. There was a few that I liked. But then the more and more that I got to listening to his music, the more the songs resonated. Talking about superstitions, his song, as you get to listening to it, it mentions little things like leaving an acorn in the window in case lightning strikes. I'd never heard of that superstition, but I looked it up. It's a real thing. And just little bits of that song just absolutely struck my soul. There's so many of his songs that it's not just the lyric, it's the way he sings it, it's this music behind it. Even one of his newer ones is Heavens to Betsy. There's so much meaning in that song, but he has such a rock beat. It goes from a softer part of that song until he's absolutely jamming out, but you catch yourself singing every single word to that. I don't know how many times I've listened to that song, and I will be driving in my vehicle, whether it's to work, whether it's to my parents' house, and I will catch myself tearing up because there is so much meaning to that song. This guy, he had an addiction. He let it get the better of himself. He left his little girl here on Earth, and basically he's saying, I bet you're just as surprised as I am they'd ever let a sinner like me in. And he just wants that connection. He wants to be able to look over her from heaven, and it just absolutely strikes a chord in your soul. There's so many of his songs like that. If you get to listening to Wings, it's just a little bit, it's heart-wrenching. One of the best decisions that I made, I had myself talked out of it. Last weekend, I went with my cousin's daughter and her fiance to Valor Ballroom in West Des Moines. We saw Jackson Dean in concert. They had seen him before. I had not seen him in concert. But let me tell you, I have listened to his music so much over this past year and a half. His music, some of that I can start playing as I'm sitting there at work. And I can play it on repeat. I have a playlist, it's called Just Jackson Dean, that has songs that he's part of. And he sings, he's written. You sat there and you listened to it. And when we got to that concert, I absolutely sang my heart out. There's so many times I didn't necessarily watch this performance because I had my head tipped back, singing along to every single word of every single song. I mean, there was one new song that he sang that I didn't know, but let me tell you, as soon as it comes out where I can hear it, I will be listening to it on repeat. There was just so much from that concert. When he was singing Heavens to Betsy, it was another one of the cases during the concert that I was on the verge of tearing up. It just, hearing it in your car is one thing, but hearing it in person with the heartfelt emotion that he sings, I don't think I have been so happy in so long. Just hearing it, seeing his performance, hearing every heartfelt lyric. Not only does he have heartfelt ones, he has absolute bangers like Still Raging. But even then, there are so many references in that song. I hate to say it, the song came out before wildfires in California, but it says in there, still raging like the wildfires out in California. And it's just little references like that. I absolutely love the lyrics. It's crack and wax on a double barrel shot of Makers. Just references that you wouldn't necessarily think of per se in a song, but absolutely love his music. So here a couple nights ago, I was going through and watching some of his live performances and his interviews that he's had on TV and with other stations. One of them was with RFD TV. Her perception and the way she was discussing the music with him, it really told his story. There's a lot of things that, like his Don't Take Much song, basically it's saying it doesn't take much to have it all. When he turned 18, he kind of had, I won't say falling apart, but he was close with his parents, but he worked with his dad all the time. So he moved into a cabin at his parents on the back of the property, and no running water, no AC, but just kind of like getting away. And honestly, listening to that song, it kind of makes you reevaluate. It's like, hey, I don't really need everything. I did grow up in the country, but I live in town. But it's one of those cases where you kind of reevaluate and go, hey, do I really need to do this? Do I need everything that I have? Do I need to reduce? You know what? It wouldn't be such a bad idea to pack up everything, go for a ride, go for a trip, move out to the hills. His music, there's like Sweet Appalachia. It has that Appalachian sound, and there's so many of those that each song is so different, but it's so meaningful. I just don't think there is that I've seen anybody that really does that. Like I said, going to that concert, it just absolutely was pinnacle. I will say, year so far. I hate to go too deep with that saying because my cousin's daughter is getting married next month. So I have a feeling that's going to be the pinnacle of my year. But year to date, that's so much heartfelt singing. The crowd was amazing. I stand next to a couple younger ladies that they were just absolutely every song just singing along, just dancing along. It was just an amazing experience for me. That venue was a standing room only. I don't think to experience his music, especially that first time, there would have been a better way to do that. I just was probably 4 or 5 people back from the stage, at least when we got there, some shuffled in, but I was just absolutely ecstatic to be standing there, just singing my head off. That's about the best way I can say it. Best experience. It's one of those cases where if you haven't had a chance to listen to Jackson Dean or you haven't heard of him, he's an artist that you absolutely need to look up. There's a lot of people, I understand that it's not going to be their cup of tea, not their kind of music, but he's hard to describe. His music is very hard to say, hey, he's country, but he's not. He has this backwoods, backcountry. There's no comparison. You really can't compare him and say that he's like Jason Aldean or he's like Alan Jackson per se. He's his own. That's the best way to describe it. Somebody's like, oh, is he country? I'm like, well, some songs are country, some songs are rock, some songs have this deeper meaning that transverses any music genre. But yeah, if you get a chance, listen to Jackson Dean. There's so many good songs. It's really hard to recommend just a handful of them. He's got 2 really big albums that have came out, plus like 1 original from before. Then you have 1 live at the Ryman, and believe me, you want to check out 1971 from that album. It's just an absolute jamming song. That's the best way to describe it. So go check out Jackson Dean, and you'll have to let me know what you think.
We did not say